Aloha, my friend. Dan McDonald here. If I used a clickbait title, you'll have to forgive me. I really wanted to spend time with you today. And I wanted to go over the Facebook post that I made last night. I really was curious as to the nature of the dangers of the raw living foods diet long term, because I've been seeing a lot of videos and a lot of people are negative towards people that are on a live foods diet. Of course, there's negativity towards everyone. Today I'm going to be focused on positivity. Everybody has an agenda. I have an agenda. It's like you know what your purpose is and you know what you're here to share. And then when the camera goes down and you're no longer writing books and blog posts and making videos and doing your social media, you go into your room and you just go into silent space. And there's really no thoughts there. There's no attachments to opinions. You're not trying to convince anyone of anything. And in fact, the deepest part of your humble being knows that you really don't know anything. But we all have a role to play on the game board of life. And you have to have this side if you're going to have this side. And the deepest part of you, of course, and I know you're aware of this, is just all of it. It's unity, it's oneness. And then you have like conditioning, and then you have, like attachments, and you have, different types of preferences, I guess is the word I'm looking for, And we all love to have an emotional charge, or we like to point our fingers at everybody else and blame them. You're the one destroying the planet. I'm going to go get in my Hummer and go down and get some vegan tofu, you know what I'm saying? So I hope to not be any of that today. I get angry, I see it. In fact, the videos that people love the most are the ones when I'm being myself instead of Mr. Tushy Tushy, Mr. Spiritual. Because if I could be like that guy that we call Jesus, the kind and loving, gentle, intelligent, awake, aware, sensitive, all-knowing, totally filled with the light of truth and power, of course I would be that. But I'm kind of like a old gangster, half gangster, half saint. I've been through a lot of stuff in this life, and I've had a lot of pain. And just recently I went through a huge wave of anger, releasing that as I do these protocols, programs, herbs, tonics, fastings, meditations, take time away from the social media. That's when I can really recharge and rebuild my energy. And then I come back and it's like work. This is my job. But there's also a real human being here who is interested. And I really feel like there has been a lot of humility that's come over the years. So I'm going to get to the point here of this post that I made on Facebook. I'm going to ask you for your feedback. And I hope that we all just keep making the world a better place to be. I feel like one of the tools that's used against us by the few, it's always been some emperor or some king or some, I call it the fat, rich white guy, You're prejudiced, Dan McDonald, against white people. No, I'm just saying that usually throughout history, if you study like the history of Hawaii, if you study the history of American Indians, if you study the history of anywhere, but of course human beings have been wanting more forever. So that's part of the process too, but they're wanting more, not necessarily of themselves, wanting more stuff. I got me now more stuff, good. Yeah, kill all people, take big more stuff. And so, but I'm talking about more like, and as we evolve, so that wanting more does lead you to the path what I like to call the way for simplicity. And then when you get on the path of the way, when you're praying to the one that you find inside of you at the center of your being, the silent stillness, some call it God or whatever you want to call it, you know, you get, as you evolve, you get to that place where you realize that that would be the ultimate more, and then you don't have to conquer and kill people and accumulate material possessions and conquer the other guy and beat the competition and snuff out those people that have that color, or take this land over here so you can have more. It's not wrong, it's just that it's misguided. And then eventually that wanting more, which is a constant part of being aliveness. I mean, the tree wants more sun so that it can produce more fruit. And we all have that. And we're going to keep evolving. And then there's those rare individuals that find that, the greatest treasure of all is the perfect relationship with myself by the relinquishment of all that I'm not, which is pretty much everything that most of us all believe in because of the conditioning of society, again, brought out and controlled generally by the people that want to force us to pay taxes, and they want to control us and keep us dumbed down. And this goes back to the dawn of history, prehistory. Again, wanting more, but one day it comes to you that, man, all this stuff is not really it. And the less you want and the less you need, the closer you are to the self that is completely fulfilling. Those are my fancy words for saying things that can't really be spoken of, and that's one of the frustrations I've had on YouTube, is that words don't really adequately cut it. But I have been having a good time lately. I went through a lot of stuff on this YouTube channel, and praise the Lord for showing me my own fears, my own blocks, my own trepidation towards being myself. Like Tavis and Lou, they're really awesome dudes. They don't swear. Me in my real life, I swear a little bit for emphasis, and I don't ever post those videos. They'll all be going up to the website. And then if you want to hear me talk about a video that I call Fat White Men, because that's what's going on these days. These dudes are sitting around a desk and they're figuring out, how can we get rid of all these worthless eaters? Let's fill them with this crap food. So which that segues into, this post, which was really from my heart. Because I wanted to know. I saw some videos over the last several months. The dangers of raw food diet, and then all these people with their little snarky attitude. Basically, what I saw when I saw that was they couldn't sustain that discipline. People are like, wow, you're so disciplined, Dan. I'm like, no, I'm not. I just don't like to feel, what happens to me when I let myself go off on these tangents on the diet. I don't want to waste 1 second of my life not feeling optimally. That's just me. I don't think everyone thinks that way. A little ice cream, a little bit of, bread with cheese or whatever. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. Just listen to this post. You can give me your feedback down below. You can also go to the Facebook page where it's posted on Dan the Life Regenerator Facebook page. And put your feedback there, put it down below, whatever. But I'm seriously, it's just like everything else. Like I try to figure out a lot of things about the logic behind all the different aspects of society. I'm not even going to go down that rabbit hole right now. I said stop, because that's another rabbit hole. So let's keep it focused. Thank you for giving me a chance to warm up. That's how I do really well on these YouTube videos. I take 5 or 10 minutes to connect with you. Then we start what I like to call channeling. Channeling, meaning you're warmed up, you're comfortable, you're in your skin, You know that everybody that's not supposed to be here has clicked off, and the people that are supposed to be here that are very interested and invested in who you are and love you want to hear this. And so then that clicks in. This is after 8 years, almost coming up on 8 years on YouTube, of channeling my highest, deepest self. 42 years of life on earth, 17 years on a live diet, and everything else, that I've been through, which one day I should tell the grand story of all, because the miracle is that I'm still standing. And the other miracle is that I'm healthy as I am for everything that I put myself through as I was trying to medicate myself from this, just this crazy world we live in. So I'm not against anybody. This is a post on diet. Me trying to understand the logic and the rationale, because everything I'm really learning lately, I'm learning from this land. I'm learning from the trees. I'm learning from the ocean. I'm learning from the animals. They have taught me things about health that no health educator could teach me. And I follow their ways. And it's making a huge difference in every aspect of my health. So this post on Facebook, posted yesterday at 8:11 p.m., which is like the worst time in Hawaii, because that means everybody's asleep. But it's still got quite a bit of feedback. The dangers of a long-term raw living foods diet. I'm thankful, and I know that I am blessed. But the only reason I ended up here was because of my commitment to succeeding on living foods. When you commit to anything, the path will open up. You see? And so here I am in the optimum place where the food produces itself. And I know the rest of you don't have that. You've got grocery stores and things like that, but you can create anything in your life depending upon your personal priorities. So no one can get really mad at me for ending up here in paradise and having more food than I know what to do with, that's alive and freshly picked and filled with life force energy that's completely transforming my consciousness, which allows me to be a clear vessel for more truth to help guide people, because that's what I've been found myself doing through your pulling on to me. I'll explain the whole YouTube story one day, but now I'm coming out the other side here through a major tunnel way. And that's a beautiful thing. So thank you very much. Now it says, please help me. I've seen a lot of videos lately talking about the dangers of eating a living foods diet long term. And I am puzzled. I truly am puzzled at the logic. And here's why. How did humans survive before fire? How do all the animals survive without cooked food? These are the questions that I wanted answers to. Why do humans need cooked food to be healthy when no other living organisms on the planet do? In fact, why do zoo animals get unhealthy when you feed them cooked food? Why are humans an exception to the rule? I have never seen a giraffe, tiger, bear, chicken, dolphin, whale, zebra, hyena, monkey, or any other animal cooking its food. All animals are raw living food eaters. What is it that makes us different? Raw living food seems to be the law of nature on this planet. Why are human beings no longer subject to that law? All of my friends who are serious healers, Tavis, Lou, Robert, and Gabriel Cousins, and Arnold Ehret, and everybody else, Herbert Shelton, from all the various schools, just maybe it's just selected reading. And, 17 years ago I read one book called The Essene Gospel of Peace. I read it and it totally transformed my entire consciousness. And I've never been the same since. And I've never stopped living by the principles in that book. Those principles in that book have never stopped benefiting me. And I have never seen anything with my own two eyes and my own experience that would negate the truth in that book. So until I do see something that nullifies the truth in that book that was written over 2,000 years ago, I'm going to have to go with it, because I've never found, there's all these other holes and all these other theories and all these other books that I've read in my public education and everything else. But that one book, I've never found anything in my own experience that would prove that what's in that book is not true, even though there's a lot of people that talk religion and this isn't in the Bible, so it can't be true. But there's a whole big story to that too, so I don't even go into that, you know. Anyways, and I said this, I've never seen a cooked food diet heal anyone of anything. And now there was a comment down below that said, look at the work of John McDougall. So I'll give it that. Personally, I've worked with people over the years, family, friends, clients, whatever, and I've used Living Foods. So I know that John McDougall's getting some results. I know his philosophy. I do pay attention to everyone. Personally, I don't feel very well on grains at all. It slows me down incredibly. Baked potatoes, all of it. Starches bog me down like you wouldn't believe. That's me personally. If it helps you to thrive, I'm not here to tell anyone. I'm just here for it because I'm not against cooked food. I'm just pro what is optimal for the enhancement of the glands, enhancement of the brain, enhancement of the heart, purification of the blood, the expansion of respiration, and purity of the temple on all levels. So I know that that's not everybody's modus operandi, but that's me. I'm a little more intense. I realize that, and I know most people don't really have the loftiest goal in mind. I am not really engaged fully in anything other than that. That's the only thing that keeps me just jacked up to wake up at 4 or 5 every morning and be my very best. And some days are amazing and joy-filled, and some days are extremely challenging as I process old pain body memories from generation after generation after generation of pain, sadness, depression, perceived failure, not good enough, worthlessness, etc. And I'm changing all that in myself. And I've done a lot of work to not do to my children what was done to me, but I still did do some of those things at a much more subtle level as far as emotionally and everything else. That's a huge story. But anyways, I kind of got off track, so I digress. Going back to John McDougall, and the point there is that I think that you do see some success. When I talk about healing, I'm talking about it at a whole nother level that most of us never even heard of and wouldn't even know because we never experienced it. Most human beings, in my opinion, are, we're really, as a species and as a society, getting weak and degenerated, in my opinion, particularly in the last 100 years since Rockefeller took over and everything has been an allopathic kind of, people call it guinea pig experiment, but it's not an experiment in my understanding. But these things are very well thought out. If you knew, like, say, the evil genius of vaccines, I mean, it's brilliant. But they have so much money, they can pay those dudes to figure these things out to create customers for life. And they've been doing that for 115 years. Okay? And so there's the massive acceleration, and that was the explosion of the industrial age and then the introduction of the synthetic chemicals. So there were other things way back then due to ignorance that people were just filthy, you know what I mean? And they just would get sick and they would just eat nothing but bread and bacon for months and years. Bread and bacon and coffee, bread, bacon, and coffee. So you know what's going to happen there. And so, but now we have, different issues, right? So we keep our houses clean and we don't poop and step in it. And, we understand a lot of things. We have washing machines and toilets and so many other things have changed. But now there's these other more subtle things that are going on. So each generation has to be awakened to what's going on and what the truth is. The eternal truth, because if you know the eternal truth, you could live in 1807 and you'd be popping fresh. You could live in 1312 and you'd be able to stay hydrated, get enough sunlight, avoid the cooked food. In my opinion, we're still on this Facebook post, but I'm having a great time and I just wanted to do a connector here. So there you go. So John McDougall, I think, gets results because he says, hey, stop killing yourself with ice cream. Stop killing yourself with, cigarettes and potato chips and eat these less, detrimental. And I myself am just super sensitive dude on all the levels. And I want that. I don't want to go numb. I spent my whole time just numbed out, man, because the pain was too great. And then I became aware of healing, and I introduced myself to knowledge that would say, hey, if you go down this path, you have to feel these things to heal these things. If you want to get the anger and the pain, the frustration, and the worthlessness out of you, you've got to face it head on. And you can't use food, sex, drugs, adrenaline, entertainment to keep yourself in a state of bewilderment and non-presence. So when you become more and more present, you're like, oh wow, I'm really, really angry, or I'm really, really sad, or I really feel unlovable, non-worthy of love. And you have to feel those things and face them. And you'll probably cry, and you'll be sad, and it might last a day, and it might last a week, it might last a month. It might take you a very long time before you go through so much pain and so much bullshit with social media that you say, to hell with these fools. I'm going to do what I came here to do. I'm going to make my money and I'm going to be myself because, hell, I already pointed it out the other day and I know I'm going off on a tangent, but it's like, I already told everybody on the live stream, which I made a video for my website, that we're all scamming each other. Because if you live out here, right out there underneath the trees, underneath the bushes is where I sleep, naked at night under the stars. That'll tell you something. Wait a minute. Now I know that I live in the tropics, which is where I believe that we were originally from and where I get a lot of my ideas on the optimal diet for human health due to the optimum environment for human health. I mean, in Maine, when it's 20 degrees, that is not the optimum environment for human health. You got 500 coats on and you're freezing your nays off and you're going to die if you don't have certain things. That's the beginning of, in my opinion, of economic slavery. But when you get here, you start to wake up. God, I don't even need a freaking bed. Why do I have this house? Well, I need the Wi-Fi to make videos to send to the people to pay the child support. Then I need, all these other things to go along with it. Then it becomes this kind of economic slavery. And I know we're all trapped in it, so I'm not giving anyone a hard time. I'm the long-winded SOB, but this is for the hardcores. Okay, I got 10 minutes left. I'm rolling deep, and we're going to get this done. I make some short videos, which I'm going to do in a little bit here, and I make some long videos, and I appreciate your time and attention. It's a lot of fun, because I think that you can learn, because, man, I'm just so galactivated with truth that works for me as far as the diet goes. Let's move on. So God bless John McDougall and those other doctors that are working towards, if you stop, it's basically like at the level that you stop killing yourself is the level you start healing. But what we've been programmed to believe is super healthy, sex, yeah. Drain your vital fluid. I mean, when a plant goes to seed, man, that plant begins to go. It's on its end. So when you're just depleting yourself, you're not popping, snapping in your mind, because this fluid down here goes up your spine And the same exact fluid that's shooting out is the same fluid that's filled with the phosphorus and the lecithin and the proteins that feed the glands in your brain. So we have a whole society of people that are just shooting their brains out for a 10-second muscle spasm. And I hope that doesn't offend anyone, but I'm really trying to help the people that really want to shine bright and get their creativity on and get their true masculinity, men and women, and I'll make a video about that later if I get enough requests. That's just one example. The other thing is the food, the other thing is the entertainment, the other thing is the consumer items, which I'm just as guilty of all this as everyone, but I'm just saying I'm going for more refinement personally when it comes to diet, when it comes to my, the way that I conduct myself as far as sexuality goes. I'm not going to say too much, but I like to preserve my brain, if you know what I mean. So I seal the gate as much as I possibly can, and I'm getting better and better at it as I get more and more mature and more self-control, because I need this thing up here to work. These fools tried to blast me out. So now I got to do aluminum and mercury detox and viral detoxes. And I know that a lot of people don't understand, but I'm not trying to have parasites, microorganisms, viruses, heavy metals, toxins, calcareous deposits, indurated tissue, and scar tissue in my body. I'm getting the oxygen back in there. I'm regenerating the micro capillaries in my brain and all through my body. And I'm dissolving the calcareous deposits that come from the introduction of synthetic chemicals, whether they're from when you're a baby or from when all the things you did in college or all the drinking that makes your brain shrink and all these things that we do in society. And the less you do and the more you be, the better off you're going to be, in my opinion. The less you need and the less you want, the more your cup will be overflowing. I'm not saying cars and houses and relationships and clothes and all that stuff ain't cool, but it depends on your level of attachment and identification with it. I'll continue to move on. So God bless all the doctors like McDougall that are helping people to continue to evolve in what I think, in my opinion, from where I sit, as I observe this nature and harvest. Like, I've gotten to a point where I know this island well enough to where I'm able to go and harvest almost every single thing I eat off the trees that are self-perpetuating. I used to think bananas were, you had to have all this manpower. That's what people used to say. You need a lot of man. It's not natural. I've harvested probably 10,000 bananas since I've lived here for 7 months. We can't eat them all, even with the ducks, giving them away to friends. They just keep coming. The only thing you have to do is cut the rack and don't fall off the ladder, because that would really suck. You got to make sure you don't get jerked off the ladder every time with a 100-pound rack of bananas. But so I got a few systems down to make it easier. Sometimes I cut them a little bit, one piece at a time. Sometimes I lower it with a rope. But the bananas just keep self-perpetuating themselves, and they're an amazing food, and all the animals around here love them. We have little banana parties right out here in front. The ducks, the chickens, the doves, me, and everybody. So we're all stoked on the bananas, and they're self-perpetuating. Hundreds of bananas a week. This coconut came off of the tree. I bought the climbing gear. I go way up, and inside this is this meat that's the best fat in the world and carbohydrates, and then this, you can see in this all the hydrogen and the oxygen. I mean, it's like, what else do you need? I feel best on just coconuts, mono meals. Boom. I harvested all this the other day right off the trees. These are all lemons, limes, a couple of oranges and stuff. End of the citrus season. I harvested all these for free off a tree. All this stuff is free food. This is what I eat. I do buy food from the store, and I feed it to my friends, and I take it to church, stuff like that. So that's my experience, is the self-perpetuating foods that I get to go out and harvest for free that are snapping fresh and alive. And if you can't do that, I understand you can. You just haven't made that a priority yet. But I get it. I'm not here to judge anyone. I'm just here to say, hey, this is what makes sense to me, because no one came through with any evidence that could support any of these arguments. Everyone was like, yeah, that's pretty much, I mean, I can't eat this. There's a lot of head trips, but there's no real, no one can answer why all living organisms on this planet are raw and then we have to have cooked food. I think I know what it is. I think that microorganisms, parasites, fungus, yeast, and molds have consciousness, and they know exactly what to tell you, until you learn to get to another level and be honest with yourself and be like, okay, I got some Beelzebub up in here chilling, trying to tell me how to live and what to eat, and I got all these cravings, and then I got all these rationalizations. But the pure logic of it, every animal on this planet is a raw living animal, and then you got the human beings who all of a sudden, well, these things are delicious little snacks, Dan, so F you, and I don't want to, you're going to die if you eat raw vegan. Well, I'm 17 years in the game, and I'll tell you right now, I'm healthier than I've ever been. I got 2 minutes left to finish this post, and you can leave me some business down below, baby, yeah. I have seen the raw living foods heal hundreds of people under my personal care and received thousands and thousands of email from people all over the world who have healed every disease known to man with live foods. After 17 years on a raw living foods diet, I feel very healthy. I do. I feel very healthy. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning, went down, rode my bike through the park, climbed a couple coconut trees, cut some coconuts. We had a coconut party, came back, cleaned up, put some clothes on, and was going to make some videos for the day. So I feel really good. I feel really well. And here's the next thing. After 17 years on a raw living foods diet, I feel very healthy. In fact, it has been the elimination of the excesses, sex, food, and exercise. Yes, you can exercise too much. Trust me, I did that for years. Food, I hate that feeling of being bloated with just so much food. I don't like it at all. I do not like that at all. Gluttony is gross, and I always feel terrible when I allow myself to do that. Ugh. That's why I like the mono meals, because you're just done. You're done. Macaroni and cheese, you keep stuffing it. Pizza, donuts, vegan food, tofu, everything. You just stuff. You don't get full. Water fills you up. I do not feel deficient in anything. In fact, the less I eat, the better I feel, and my weight always stays at 160. I'm 6'2" and I'm an ectomorph, so that's perfect if you ask me. Sometimes if I eat a lot, when Tavis is here, I'll put on like 5 pounds and go to 165. I seriously never have any health problems, unlike almost everyone else I know. My teeth are good, no body odor, perfect digestion and bowel movements, no diseases, steady energy levels, perfect eyesight, strong muscles, soft, supple skin. I feel pretty good for a 42 years young dude. Am I missing something is the question. Please help me. These are serious questions, and I really want some intelligent feedback. Thank you for your intelligent reply and for sharing this with your family and friends so I can get as much feedback as possible. I am truly curious as to what you think, because I really want to know. I'm not against anybody. Eat whatever the hell you want to eat, baby. But I am treading the path. I feel good. I've seen what I've seen. People go from vegan to raw vegan. Their skin, their hair, their eyes, their teeth, their energy, their beauty, their radiance. So all I know is what I see out here and see with my own eyes from the years of experience that I've had. And I've never seen anything other than that. So thank you very much. Have an awesome day. And thanks for joining me on this video so that we can all have a little more understanding and a lot more love. Peace.